So Newcastle United's Premier League season has come to an end with a 4-2 win here against Brentford at the Gtech Community Stadium. That win means Newcastle United finished in 7th place in the Premier League, and we'll talk about the game in a minute. But first, permutations, what that means for Newcastle and the European football. Right now, Newcastle United don't know if they're going to be playing European football next year. That relies on Manchester City beating Manchester United in the FA Cup final next weekend. If that does happen, Man City complete the double and defeat Man U in the FA Cup final, then Newcastle United will be playing Conference League football next year. If Manchester United win the FA Cup, then there'll be no European football. But forget it, that's out of their control. Back to the positives, and what was a brilliant day for Newcastle United today. They came to Brentford on the back of, obviously, that defeat at Old Trafford on Wednesday, due to Brighton, last weekend. So you did worry that had those setbacks derailed them a little bit. Then we all know their form on the road isn't brilliant either, so how would they react to that? But they did really well, barring about 5 minutes at the beginning and about 10 minutes by the second half. Newcastle United were fantastic today. So yeah, onto the game. As I mentioned right at the beginning, they didn't start off brilliantly. Ivan Toney scored within the first couple of minutes, as he always does against the old club, and you felt at that point, whoa, what kind of day is this going to be? It was a big game. Newcastle haven't been the best in big games over the last couple of years, but fortunately for them, that Toney goal was ruled out for offside. It was Brian Mbeumo down here on the right that was called offside. It was a very tight call, and I don't think there was many in the stadium that thought there was an offside problem there, but obviously the VAR checked it. It was offside, and that was a real let-off for Newcastle. Moments later, Toney was denied by Nick Pope, who was making his first start since December, so that's another bit of good news for Newcastle. But yeah, it was once they got that shock off the system, that they really performed brilliantly for the next sort of 80-odd minutes. They were really good today. And yeah, Joe Linton had a chance he missed. It was a good chance, and again, at that point, you think, is this going to come back and cost them? But it didn't. They were really good. They got the opener, probably deserved opener, through Harvey Barnes. Bruno Guimaraes cross from the right. It was quite a floated cross. I'm surprised Barnes was able to get the power, but it was a brilliant header. He managed to get a header in the top corner, give Newcastle the lead, and that was the start they needed. That was sort of settled the nerves, I think, with a lot of people. Sort of settled them down a little bit, and you felt that actually they weathered that storm right at the beginning. They played themselves into the game. They were on top. They were dominating possession, and getting that goal really helped. Then Jacob Murphy made it 2-0 about 10 minutes later. Alexander Isak, brilliant to dispossess the Brentford defender, Pinnock. He miscontrolled it. He managed to get back, but Isak drove onto the box, left-footed cross, found Jacob Murphy at the back post, slide home, and yeah, it was 2-0, and it was brilliant. And then you think at that point, can they go and get another? Because Eddie Howe's teams are at their best when they're ruthless, when they get those opportunities. It's time and time again we've seen them score 1, 2, 3, really quick goals, and they did that again almost straight from the kickoff. A couple minutes later, Jacob Murphy dispossesses one of the Brentford defenders high up the pitch. He gives it to Bruno. Bruno, nice pass to Alexander Isak. Isak does what he does best, finish it in the bottom corner, and all of a sudden Newcastle United are 3-0 up and in control of the game. And that was the first half. Really, they were in control of the game. They went into half time in control. You didn't think they were going to let it slip. We've seen them sort of have games like that against Burnley recently, where they went into half time with big leads, and they didn't let it slip on that occasion. But Brentford are a level above Burnley, and to be fair, Brentford came out the second half firing. They pulled one back quite quickly, and then that's when the nerves again started hitting. You think 3-1. What's the state of play here? What's going to happen? The fans would be checking the Chelsea score. Chelsea won 2-1 against Bournemouth. They were 2-0, so that game didn't really matter. That wasn't going to knock them out of Europe. It was the Manchester United one that did. And then when news of Manchester United first goal against Brighton started to filter through, Brentford then got another goal through Johan Wissa. Now, to be fair, you got to speak about this goal. It's a fantastic goal. He does really well to hold off Dan Burn and the defenders. He comes on his right and curls it into the back post. It was a fantastic finish, to be fair. And at that point, it's 3-2. Brentford on the up. Newcastle, same old Newcastle. You're getting those feelings. Is this going to be another one where they just fall short? But again, like they did in the first half, they just weathered the storm a little bit, calmed things down. Had a couple of scares, of course. They had a couple of scares, but then they managed to get the fourth through Bruno Guimaraes. Now, they thought they had been given a penalty. Lewis Hall was fouled. It was a pretty clear penalty. I think everyone in the stadium knew could see it was a penalty. So foul, sorry. But then VAR checked to see whether it was outside the box, and it was outside the box. Now, it was interesting. It flashed up on the screen here at Brentford, and I think there was a lot of Newcastle players complaining at that point. They'd seen it on the screen. They didn't think it was outside the box. It was very close to the line. But the referee ultimately changed the decision. He decided to he decided, the VAR intervened and told him that it was on the edge of the box, so there was a free kick rather than a penalty. But fortunately for Newcastle, it didn't matter. Isak's free kick hit the wall. Didn't hit the wall. Isak's free kick was saved brilliantly by Mark Flecken, but unfortunately his save went straight in the path of Bruno Guimaraes, who stabbed home, and that was at 4-2, and Newcastle could breathe a sigh of relief, because for about 5 or 6 minutes at that period when Manchester United scored, Brentford had scored. Before that, it was looking real dodgy, and you didn't know where it was going to go, but Newcastle United got that fourth goal, and that just calmed everything. Saw out the game brilliantly, had a couple of breaks, didn't really test the keeper too much. Brentford didn't really offer too much in the dying stages. As I said, they weren't on the beach. To be fair, that's really harsh. I think Thomas Frank side, put in as good as they have. 16th place is a bit of a false position for them. I think if they'd had Tony at the beginning of the season, I think they would have finished higher. But yeah, it was a proper professional performance from Newcastle today, and what they needed, and once that actually they haven't done too many times under Eddie Howe. They've done it. They put in a good performance and got a result when they needed it. When the pressure was on, they've really done it, and it was fantastic. So, as I said, it doesn't guarantee European football just yet. We'll have to wait for the FA Cup final for that. But they've done all they could do. Manchester United didn't do them any favours. Chelsea didn't do them any favours. So they had to win, and they've done that in style at Brentford. A place that has actually been a quite happy hunting ground for them recently. But yeah, 4-2. The players afterwards all went over at the group of fans that will be in that section there just behind me. They got a massive applause. Of course, Bruno was a star of that. Joe Linton was a star of that. Mention for Bruno's celebration where he picked up a bucket hat from the crowd. There's a great couple of pictures on social media. I'll see them of that. So yeah, it was just one of them. It was a real together moment at the end, and I think the players recognised that they'd done something big. Is it the heights of last season? No, but in the grand scheme of things, when you look at the season as a whole, I think 7th place is a good finish. It's a fantastic finish for them. Now they've just got to hope that Manchester City can do them a favour next week, which you would think that would happen, and then they will be playing Conference League football next year. Of course, I'm not going to end on the sound up. Of course, as I mentioned, Isak and Guimaraes, they got on the score sheet today. Now we hope, and I hope, and a lot of people hope that wasn't their last performance in Newcastle United top, because they are class. They are Champions League class. You're not going to find better than them too. So hopefully they can keep hold of them. But yeah, European football, if they can get it, if Manchester City can get the job done next week, European football is a big thing in their arsenal. Try and hold on to these players and sign more. And yeah, it was a good, solid end of the season, and one which will please a lot of fans, a lot of players, Eddie Howe and all of his staff. So yeah, it was a brilliant end of the season. They've done their job. They didn't have to rely on anything else, and I think they deserve massive credit for that. So yeah, Newcastle United 4, Brentford 2. Newcastle United finishing 7th place, and now have 7 agonising days of wait to see if that is enough for Europa Conference League football next season.